Good morning, everybody. I'm Meredith Harris with the Marlborough Economic Development Corporation, and it is my pleasure this morning to welcome you to a very special broadcast here at MEDC called Inside the Industry. And this morning we have folks from UMass Memorial, Marlborough Hospital, specifically to talk about the Marlborough's Women's Imaging Center. Really excited this morning to talk to Dr. Gopal and Dianne Miranda, both here right at the eve of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is October. So we're really excited to talk about the Imaging Center and kind of just Marlborough Hospital and all that they have to offer. So with that, Jill, I'm going to introduce my co-host. Good morning.
Meredith, I'm so excited about this morning.
Me too.
We've done 2 episodes of Inside the Industry, one with Quest Diagnostics.
Correct.
Almost a year ago.
And
then we had
Cytiva.
Yeah, and that was a big panel.
Big panel. We got a smaller panel today, which we're okay with.
Yes, a little more intimate. We'll be able to really answer some questions. So if you're joining us live, let us know. We're streaming to both Facebook and YouTube. We would love to know that you're watching. Please, this is a live stream. So that means you can comment, you can ask questions, and we'll be happy to
we want to hear from you. Absolutely.
Totally do. We may have some students joining us. Hello. As a former teacher, I'm very excited to see that we have some students joining us today. It's it's going to be a great morning.
Yeah.
So much to learn. I love Marlborough Hospital, born and raised in Marlborough. Excited to hear more about the services. We are here. I'm going to show you a little behind the scenes. We are here. We are socially distant. Right. We want to be mindful of that. And I don't know, you want to jump right into it?
We're going to kick it off. Yeah, I'm excited this morning to have you guys here with us. The Imaging Center is a brand new, beautiful building in Marlborough. We're very, very proud to have the building here in Marlborough and the services that you guys are providing. We've always been proud of Marlborough Hospital and everything that's going on over there. You guys are our community heroes, just honored in our Labor Day parade, which was phenomenal. So we couldn't be more excited and welcome Dr. Gopal and welcome to Dianne. Thank you for being here with us this morning.
Thank you very much for having us.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So before we kind of jump into the Imaging Center, which we really want to focus on today, again, Breast Cancer Awareness Month is next month. I think we can talk a little bit about the importance of folks getting in to get their mammos, things like that. But before we do that, can you guys speak a little bit about Marlborough Hospital? We're so proud of Marlborough Hospital. It's one of the things when we're out selling to companies to come to the city, that's one of the things we tell them it's here. We're really excited about that. But some people that are watching might not know about all the services that are available in their community hospital right down the road. It's right here. You don't have to travel far. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to either one of you who want to kick it off. What do you have going on over there on Union Street?
Right. Sure. I think I'll let Dianne tackle that question. I think she spends more time in the Marlborough Hospital. She would be better suited to take that on.
Yes. So, and again, thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
We are very proud of Marlborough Hospital. It's in the community, in patients, neighborhood. And we do partner with UMass Health, which gives them, resources to the specialists and other opportunities. For services, we have 24/7 emergency room, surgical services, laboratory, diagnostic imaging, pulmonary, cardiology, cardiac rehab.
A little bit of everything.
We have behavioral health services for in and outpatients. We have a cancer center as well.
That's a state of the art, isn't it? I mean, and
yes.
Fairly new, right?
Yes.
It's been around, it was a couple years before I came, but, absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. And in addition, we also have an endoscopy suite. So,
right.
So just about the entire spectrum of what you would want from a medical facility.
Sure.
Is available.
And you don't have to go into Boston to receive the care. It's right around the corner.
Yes.
Right.
Sure.
It's amazing. So how about the Imaging Center? Can you guys tell us a little bit about the Imaging Center? And it's new. It was brought to us, kind of opened up during COVID, which is interesting. But walk us through, what does that look like, and what kind of services are folks getting at the Imaging Center?
Firstly, we should thank the town and every folk that helped us, have this building constructed during COVID. Dianne put a lot of sweat into it, and I think she should run with that.
Perfect.
Yeah, so the city did help, approving the permits and getting us, built during the pandemic. We did move into the center last November, We did a lot of
Was that November 2020?
last November.
Okay. Okay.
2020, that's
Okay.
correct.
Yeah, yeah. And we put a lot of thought and effort to having the center be a very healing, tranquil environment.
Yeah, you have a lot of artwork.
There's
It's
artwork,
beautiful.
and sculptures, all from women artists,
That's
all in
awesome.
the New England area. And I think the nicest piece is in the lobby. It's glass stones, and it's just a sculpture on the wall that just,
Beautiful.
people just, find beautiful. So at the center, we offer mammography. We have 3D units. We have ultrasound. We do stereotactic and ultrasound guided biopsies. We have bone density to evaluate the risk of fractures. We also have ABIS, which is a new technology. It's automated breast ultrasound, and we're using that for patients that have dense breast tissue. That mammogram has a harder time seeing masses. We also just started a genetic testing program,
Okay.
which we test for 8 cancers,
Oh, wow.
35 different genes, and also the facility has free parking right outside
Yeah,
the
it's
door.
very accessible.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You wave your hand and open up the door, so everything is touchless.
Wow.
Yep. As far as COVID, again, everybody has their masks. Eyewear. We social
Very safe.
distance. Everybody's 6 feet. All COVID cleaning precautions are done, just so people can feel safe coming into the center,
sure.
because we want you still to come and have your testing. So
Right.
that's very important to us.
And so so for somebody that may have never been to a center, have never had this done, what does it look like? When you're coming in, what does that feel like? And what is the procedure? What are they doing once they get to your facility?
Right. We want to first make it very welcoming, because a hospital visit for anyone can be a little intimidating.
Sure.
And the good thing about the Women's Imaging Center, it's a little isolated from the main hospital. So it's more like walking into a hospital lobby or something. And of course, these days we don't offer coffee or snacks
Right.
and drinks. I wish we could do that. But we don't offer that. So most times the lady already has an appointment. And I just take a step back. Breast imaging is not just confined to women alone.
Sure.
There could be the odd instance when, a young man could have some breast issues and they need to come in.
And people probably don't think of that.
Exactly.
Right.
And, most people don't think about it. They think it's something which is only confined to women. It's not so. And in these days, we also need to be very sensitive to the LGBTQ
Sure.
community. And they could have breast issues too. So firstly, it's a very welcoming environment. Most people do have an appointment before they even walk in. This appointment is generally done online, or it's a reference by their provider. And then you have the front office staff, the ever smiling, ever cheerful staff, who will greet you right there and then direct you. And very soon a staff member would probably walk up front into the waiting area and get them in to get the test done.
Sure. And you guys, the equipment that you're using, I know the walkthrough that I did over the summer, we were really impressed. So our day job is to work with all business that's in Marlborough and to promote different business, bring them in. I thought it was great that a lot of the machinery that you have is made by Marlborough companies.
Exactly.
It was incredible to see. I think it was Hologic,
Hologic.
Boston Scientific, some of those great companies, you have their equipment right there in the imaging center. That's just, from a community perspective, that's really great.
Absolutely. And I think we should also thank the city of Marlborough, because Hologic is also headquartered in Marlborough.
Yes.
And I think the big theme in this, when this new building was constructed, was stress on local, stress on women. It's a women's imaging center. A lot of these art pieces are by women artists,
Right.
and from the New England area. So I
Right.
think that was a great beginning.
So going a little bit of a different direction. So with COVID, obviously I think a lot of healthcare, facilities saw a lack of people coming in for regular procedures, right, or regular checkups. How did that have an impact on the imaging center, especially opening up? during the pandemic. What did that look like, and what would you like it to see moving forward?
Sure, exactly. Yeah, I can take that on. The peak period of COVID was sometime in the mid of March through April, May of 2020. At that point, we were not located in the center, but we were located at another facility in Southborough.
Okay.
We were working out of the Southborough facility. Is when we saw a real dip. People were very scared. Nobody wanted to meet one another or be in a communal setting.
Right.
Starting from July on, the volume actually started to pick up. And we were quite surprised that a lot of women actually called us to say, hey, listen, I missed my appointment. Can I have it rescheduled? So we went out of the way to reschedule. And we actually saw a big bump in our volumes. And when the new imaging center opened, I think it was just kind of perfect.
Sure.
It was a brand new center, kind of, to put it in more technical language, a really sterilized kind of a setup for folks to come in and get the imaging done. And of course, we took all precautions. People had to be masked, sanitizing, cleansing, and each time, a patient had her mammogram done, then that entire facility, was wiped clean. But this did result in a little lag period. In the sense, in the normal course, if we could have a turnover every 15, 20 minutes, we were now doing it every 30 to 40 minutes. And we also spaced out a waiting area so that if earlier we could accommodate 4 patients, it would now just be 1 or 2 patients at a time.
Right.
So we did those little adjustments, and we were able to keep with the volumes. We worked extended hours in order to accommodate our clients.
Sure.
So that they could all get tested, because we didn't want to lose sight.
Right.
Because of COVID, we don't miss out on cancers, and people miss out on the opportunity of getting treatment when due.
Because unfortunately, those things don't stop when
Exactly.
there's a pandemic.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Those things don't stop, and people tend to ignore it.
Right.
And we did whatever best we could to ensure that people are welcomed and people can continue to get the treatment they deserve.
Did you see a big backlog? Did you see a lot of people that didn't come in, or that you had to kind of coax them to come back, or not so much?
Actually, yes and no.
Yeah.
Because some of them didn't come. Some of them actually, I would say, postponed their care. I wouldn't exactly say that we completely lost. I think we lost just a few, but most of them, I think, are regular. If I could use the word customers to Marlborough Hospital, they love coming back. And so we actually got most of our patients back. Is that correct, Dianne?
Right, yes. We actually, kept it, because we had to close down for a couple months during COVID, and couldn't do screenings. It had to all be, needed imaging. So we kept a list of all the patients that we had to, for a couple months, not see for screening. So we reached out to all of those patients. We added, as Dr. Gopal said, additional shifts and staffing, and got them back in. We also keep track of patients that haven't come in for their appointments, and calls, send out reminder letters.
Remind people.
Remind people. Oh, you would do for your mammogram. We're here when it's convenient to come in. So we reached out to try to get people back in, and back on track with their screenings.
And so, how young do you guys like to see people coming into the imaging center? Is there an age group that this is the time frame in your life that you should be thinking about these things, or what does that look like?
I mean, in the ideal world, the commonest incidence of breast cancer is in the 50s and 60s. But the American College of Radiology would recommend that women get the screening starting at age 40.
Okay.
And that might be the right time to pick up. Cancers in younger women are more aggressive, and therefore it's more important to pick up these cancers in younger women. And therefore we'd like to stress that people should actually start thinking about it when they're 40s. They should start thinking about it in their 30s, so that they're aware and be sure to come and get their mammograms done when they're in the 40s.
Okay. And it's easy, right? And you come in and it's an easy process, and
absolutely. It's a simple process. It's an easy process. It's just getting an x-ray done.
Painful? Should people be concerned?
I would not really call it. Some people do complain of a little discomfort. When there's a little pressure. But mostly I think it's a very easy and painless process.
Sure.
Can I speak to that?
Please join us.
So I used to go to the imaging center when you were housed in Southborough. and had a great experience there. But I go yearly because of precondition, and luckily I'm safe, I'm doing well. But now I visit once a year, and I went to the new facility, and it was very welcoming, very beautiful, and the procedure itself was not something to stress out about. I would say my yearly OB visit would be a little more
stressful,
definitely more invasive.
Yeah.
So in terms of a procedure, I don't think it's something that people should shy away from. I mean, it's your health. I go to the dermatologist once a year. I get a mammogram once a year, as advised by my doctor for my particular case. But I've had a really great experience there at the imaging center, and the communication was wonderful as well.
Well, and I think you're touching on an important piece too. I think a lot of why we thought this would be an interesting conversation, not only is the imaging center in Marlborough Hospital in Marlborough, and it's near and dear to our hearts, but how do we make sure that the folks, so our job is, again, bringing in companies into our community, all those people that are coming into work at those companies, this is a resource and a service that's right in their backyard.
Yeah.
You can come over during your lunch break and get your testing done. It's right here. It's a state-of-the-art, world-class facility. Come and get it done. And also to our residents that are watching, they might not know that it's available. Used to be in Southborough, but now it's right here in Marlborough, and it's easy to access.
Yeah.
It's great care. I think that was a lot about why we wanted to bring you guys on, to raise awareness of the services that are available right here in your community.
So whether you're living here or working
here,
right? So I live in Clinton, and I used to go to UMass Memorial out in Worcester, typically for most of my major appointments. But I was thrilled that
you don't have
going
to.
from Worcester, and then I was in Southborough, and now to be in Marlborough, where I work every day, is great, very convenient.
Very convenient. I think that's the word.
Yeah.
Very convenient.
Firstly, thank you very much for advocating, and it's very good to hear from people who had the experience to say it doesn't hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so does my wife, my mother, my sister.
Sure.
They tell me the same. But that doesn't mean that some patients don't have a little discomfort.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you raised a great point when you said this hospital is just not for the Marlborough residents,
Right.
but for people who come to work here. And I think the town has done a great job in inviting a lot of industries to come. And
That's our goal.
Oh, thank you so much. And we are very happy to partner with industries and companies and whatever best you could do. In the sense, in order to accommodate them, I don't think it makes great sense for a woman to take time off from work to get a mammogram done.
Right.
Because we're really doing this in people who are asymptomatic. So it should be as seamless as possible,
Right.
Come during your lunch break. Come,
That's
before
exactly
you
what
go.
I did.
Right.
Yeah, or before you go home after work.
Right.
And that's
Right.
precisely what we want to do. Make, schedule our timings in such a way that we are open to the community.
Yes.
And you are. And I think, especially in today's world where, in your 40s, that type of age group, they got young kids, you're worrying about daycare and drop all these different, things. I mean, it's such an amazing service that's right here that we really want to make sure people know is available to them.
Yeah. My dad has this phrase that he always uses for work. He owns a conveyor company. And he has his foreman and his installers go out on the job, and my dad can't always be there. And he always says this to the point where it really aggravates me. When in doubt, give a shout. And I relate that to our topic here, because if you have any physical thing, if your body is not, if there's something that's alarming to you or different, when in doubt, give your doctor a shout and pursue that, because sometimes people ignore things, or they're afraid of what might come up. But avoiding never really has
Helped anybody.
No, in a lot of things. So
can you guys elaborate on that point? I mean, maybe, obviously in general terms, but, a case or something where you were able to catch something early that prevented somebody from having to go through whatever it may be. I'm sure you see that all the time.
Right. And I think that's what we really specialize in, because we actually pick up most cancers in the screening, in which the lady is asymptomatic, has no symptoms,
Has no idea.
has no idea, no finding. And this is a universal truth. I mean, cancer sounds a very bad word. It's very scary. It is very upsetting to most people. But the fact is, in this day and age, medicine has advanced so much that most cancers, I would use the word curable.
Sure.
And particularly early breast cancer is definitely curable.
It's encouraging.
And I would say 60% of the patients that visit our facility, I mean, I don't say Marlborough alone, but the entire UMass system, are early breast cancers. So we are looking at cure for all these. And many of them are young and have got a long life to live. And they should definitely avail this facility because you don't want to wait for the last minute
Yes.
Right.
when the disease is advanced and then, the treatment options are limited or the treatment options are more toxic. It's more stressful for the entire family.
Right.
And we really want to avoid that.
Right. So you just mentioned the UMass system. So can we talk a little bit about, okay, so we have Marlborough Hospital that's right here. You guys are part of the larger UMass system. What does that look like? How is it structured? But also, what benefits, do you have as a patient of Marlborough Hospital being a part of this larger UMass system?
Oh, that's a great question. Happy to take that on.
Awesome.
I mean, I place myself in both shoes. One, I'm looking at it from a patient perspective and one from a doctor perspective. As a patient, I think it's always more comfortable walking into a community hospital. The environment is more friendly. People are warm. Unlike walking into an academic hospital when it has a little hospital feel.
Sure. A little clinical.
Yeah, it's a little critical, and then you see a critical case being wheeled off in a stretcher
Right.
and things going off. So it can be a little intimidating for a patient. So if I were a patient, I would definitely prefer to go to a community hospital where, the doctor is more of your friend. It's not really that you're trying to meet a boss or somebody and,
Sure.
that kind of a relationship. But having said that, the advantage of having this UMass system is you're getting highly trained, highly qualified doctors who work in the academic setting, and they go to all these community hospitals. And even if, of course, resources are very thin these days and they're all stretched. But even in that setting, the patient probably has to just visit the main hospital once
Sure.
so that the plan is chalked out. This is the treatment plan. Go back to your community, go back to your friendly doctor and get the treatment because then the two doctors can be in
Can talk to each
communication.
other.
And just about everything is available here. So I think it's a big asset that we can have advanced care options and yet deliver it in a community setting. And I think that's the big advantage of the hospitals at Marlborough, Leominster, etc., which are basically community hospital. But, it's like a tertiary care center having all the specialists and all the academic folks attending to the patients.
Sure. That's a huge benefit. Yeah. I mean, you almost have access to this much bigger library, right?
Oh,
It's right at your
absolutely.
fingertips.
They have access to clinical trials that are open in the
Right.
academic center, so people could enroll in one of those if, it's a very odd, esoteric problem, which, maybe the community folks don't get to see that often.
Right.
But then having the privilege of the academic backing, all of this can get attention. And that's a big
amazing.
advantage.
We've got a few comments and questions.
Let's bring them in.
All right. So we've got a few people just thanking you for being here, thanking you both for being here today and for spreading this message. Jenny says specifically, she says, greatly appreciated this topic today. It's an
Awesome.
important one. So we've got a question from Penny. Penny asks, do you find that breast cancer is now more common among younger people, late 20s and early 30s? I've seen it in my circle. Anyone
I
wanna
would
speak to
not.
that?
Let me answer this to say that does it happen in the 20s and 30s? The answer is yes. I wouldn't say it's more common,
Okay.
but generally for folks that get in the 20s and 30s, there are two things. One is called the hereditary risk factors and then the environmental risk factors. And there are some women just by chance they happen to get it. So if people were to get it in the 20s and 30s, we would definitely like to investigate to see if there was a predisposing hereditary or a genetic factor that was responsible.
Yeah.
And with that in aim is why we started this genetic testing program because, no test is a kind of one size fits all.
Right.
And we're trying to make care as personalized as possible. Yes, there could be the odd instance when people at 20 or 30 are at risk and would need some imaging. But as a general rule, no, not that it's gotten more common. But yes, people are also more aware.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people are willing to come out and let it be known and are getting tested rather than, hiding it in the closet.
And
that's
just
a good
checking
thing.
themselves, right? I
Yeah.
mean, the messaging from the time when I was in, junior high and high school, it was very normal for our health teachers to talk about, checking your breasts.
Right.
And it's been a normal thing. And then you might have a friend that's gone through something, which was the case in my instance, where I had a close friend that was diagnosed with breast cancer. And then I was kind of more attentive to my own body.
More apt to go.
And then pursued that and, caught something early, which was great.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think almost you look at the positive side of that you're catching
Sure.
things
Sure.
earlier,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
where
Yeah.
somebody might not have known until it was, more advanced.
Right.
And
That's
like
a great
everything
question.
else, nothing like peer pressure. So a peer kind of nudging you is so much better than, a doctor giving a talk or somebody telling you, oh, get
It's
this
true.
test done.
Right.
I think nothing like peer pressure. It's the best thing.
You
can
heard
be-
it here first.
It can be the best thing.
Peer pressure. I love it.
That's awesome.
Did we have more questions?
Just people joining us.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
We did have Spencer Geary, who's one of our
favorite viewers.
And we I'm not sure if we answered this or not. I think we started to, but the question here is, how regularly should a person be getting these type of screenings? Is it something that should be done on the regular?
Okay, to
You
answer
said
the
once you're 40 is the recommended?
Yes. And this can be a little confusing
Sure.
because there are different recommendations for women. In the ideal world, we would start screening at the age 40. In a select group of people, we might need to start screening earlier. So, I don't want to give a medical lecture on this, but I just say that, yes, some people would merit screening even starting at age 30 or earlier.
Yes.
The American College of Radiology and what we recommend is from age 40, you get a screening mammogram done yearly. But there are medical societies which advocate, like the American Cancer Society advocates starting screening at age 45. The United States Preventative Task Force recommends starting screening at age 50 and doing it alternate years rather than every year.
Okay.
But here's the basic message. For sure, at least get a mammogram done once in 2 years. And well, if you want to get it done every year, even better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's good
Great.
to know. That's good to know. So we've talked a little bit about, you guys have given gratitude to the city and during your building process and permits, things like that. So thank you for that. Marlborough Hospital has been around. I think the mayor jokes often about how he was born in Marlborough Hospital, and that's kind of his fun tagline. But you guys have done a lot to give back to the community as well. Can you tell us a little bit about your community involvement, what Marlborough Hospital has been able to do for Marlborough, the city of Marlborough, since you've been here? I don't know the exact year, but one of you might know the exact year when Marlborough Hospital was built.
Yeah. I think I'd let Dianne take that question. In fact, she was the director of the
She was there when it opened?
No. No. She would shoot me if I said that.
But I'll take the lead on this one.
Perfect.
So Marlborough, in addition to giving care to patients, also has educational outreach programs. They do a fun summer day where families come meet healthcare providers, the workers, and kind of go over safe tips for to adhere to during the summer months.
Sure.
They provided 350 bike helmets
Oh,
that
yeah,
they
that's
fitted
right.
to the kids and the parents.
Yep.
It's just a nice day.
Yeah.
That the families enjoy coming to.
And all that you guys have done through the pandemic. Amazing. Being able to just drive. The testing over there has been so easy. What a wonderful thing for Marlborough residents and people who work here to be able to go, and it's such a seamless, easy process. And so thank you guys for that, and the vaccines. Not just the testing, but the vaccines, and we're just so grateful to have you guys in the community.
Yeah. So to date, we've done over 100,000 COVID testing.
Wow.
For the
Stop the spread.
Stop the spread, yeah.
Wow.
And given 20,000 vaccines, COVID
Incredible.
vaccines. And they recently went to the Marlborough Public Schools and gave 400 vaccines to the students.
That's
In
incredible.
the schools. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
And I know Ellen, who's a member of our board, Ellen is constantly involved. Ellen Carlucci, on the MEDC board, also part of the chamber, so you guys are everywhere, which is great. And we really appreciate the community involvement. So we do have some students that are watching today, or that will be watching at some point. So and I know we don't want to get too much into hiring or things. I know everybody right now is going through a little bit of a staffing shortage. There's a lot of folks that are hiring and looking for work. So I'm sure you guys are hiring as well. But can you tell us a little bit, for maybe some of the younger folks that are watching, how did you get into your field, what you're doing, and if any of them are interested in getting involved in this in terms of a career, what should they do? Where should they start?
All right, sure. I mean, for all the viewers out there, if there's a breast imaging radiologist amongst one of you, we are hiring. Please send your CV.
That's great.
So, I mean, that's one. Two is, and I think that's a big advantage of just having the community hospital and linked to the UMass school system.
Sure.
Anyone with backgrounds in science and technology, and it's just not science and tech, with advancements in technology. For example, this particular podcast that's going on, you need Facebook Live, you needed to put it on Twitter, etc. So we need a lot of people who are very savvy with social media,
Sure.
communications and all that. And I think it's very important for hospitals to also spread the message as to what good they do, what they could do better,
Sure.
what the community deserves. So just about all aspects. So one should not think that a hospital is just limited to doctors.
Right.
A lot of biologists, a lot of scientists, even data scientists, because we need to mine a lot of data. That's where we learn from.
Right.
So just
that's
about
important.
exactly. Just a lot of people from that background, people with commerce background. There are many things that we probably just doing it the old way,
Right.
and we're very resistant to change. So there could be a young manager or an MBA or somebody who says, what, you guys are wasting time. Let's do this better.
Right.
Let's do it this way.
Right.
So, and I think the chain is, as they say, the weakest link of the chain. So it's so important to have your front office staff, who are welcoming, who know exactly
Those friendly
what
faces.
Exactly,
Yeah.
those friendly faces, or the telephone operators who are working at the back end. So just about the entire spectrum of anything that you can think of,
Right.
and we have opportunities for hiring. So one should not think that, it's a hospital, I need to have a science background or I need to be something like that. It's just about, it's a question of what are the opportunities, what are the chances. So maybe look at your local newspaper.
Right.
And if you have somebody working here, because a lot of these postings are done internally within the hospital system.
Right.
So if you know somebody, then maybe get in touch with them and they could guide you. And of course, once you get your foot in the door, because we are constantly innovating and changing. And I've been looking after this division for the last 10, 11 years. And even in the last 10, 11 years, just in a small division like mine, the breast imaging division, we've had so many advances.
Sure.
Traditionally we used to do what is called the 2D mammograms. Then we migrated to doing the 3D mammograms, which is probably, the state of the art these days. But then when we started that and we had a finding in that, how would you biopsy a lesion under 3D? In fact, we were one of the first adopters of doing these 3D biopsies.
Wow.
So you come as a newbie technologist, but then you start learning about 3D, then you learn how to do a 3D biopsy.
Right.
Or take, for example, our ultrasound technology, and Dianne led that effort. Yes, we were doing the traditional handheld ultrasound, and now we have the automated breast ultrasound.
Sure.
With all the awareness about the dense breast and the dense breast informed law that is kind of uniform across most states, people need additional supplemental screening. So what can be done? So even at that stage, so everyone is growing.
Yeah.
And we fortunately live in the great state of Massachusetts, which is actually very well regulated too.
Right.
So, all facilities are inspected every year. And then the American College of Radiology is very strict, so they kind of designate and certify us. In fact, people in the community should know that Marlborough is a breast imaging center of excellence.
Excellence.
A designation which the American College of Radiology gave us. So to really respond to your question, so every technologist, every member of the team is looking at all this.
Yeah.
So they're expanding their horizons. They're learning newer opportunities. And in fact, some of them have become so good, and Boston is attractive. You know, we have the Big Brother. There are a lot of hospitals with Big Brother names, as they call them.
Sure.
And people have migrated because they were waiting for such talented people.
Right.
Are we sad? We are sad to leave them go, but we
Sure.
are happy to see them grow.
Right. Right.
So I
That
thi-
should be on a mug.
Right.
What did you say? We're sad to see them go.
but
We're happy to see them grow.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm sorry to interrupt. That was just a
That was
very
great.
nice thing that you
Oh,
said.
it is just in the spur of the moment. I didn't realize.
Good job.
But a lot of opportunity, you know, a lot of opportunity within, you know,
Yes.
to grow. And it sounds like there's, you know, an opportunity on all levels, you know,
absolutely.
to get involved. And I think that's a great message for some of the young folks that are watching, that if you have any interests, you know, get involved. And I know that Marlborough Hospital does a lot with the schools too. And so, you know, just I guess a plug to our young folks that are watching, you know, this is another opportunity for you that's out there. Look into it.
Right.
You know, if it's something and we're lucky to have, you know, such a great resource in our backyard and people that are willing to talk and, you know, open those doors. So I think that's phenomenal for them to know that.
And as you said, I mean, everyone is skilled in something different. I mean, I heard you talk about social media
Right.
and about greeting people
Right.
and whether you have technical skills. I mean, there's students, think about what you love to do, what
Right.
you would do without being paid for and what you're naturally gifted in, and lean into it, whether you're going to move into a career in the hospital or whatever you're looking into. Find what really what you can do easily and what you would like to learn more about, because even if I'm assuming you have probably many multilingual people that work at the hospital, and there's
absolutely, yeah.
probably a huge need for translators. Well, Marlborough's got a wonderful, diverse community. So if you speak Spanish, if you speak Portuguese, there's a need for you.
Right.
And I'm sure that there's certification processes, and you know, you can start off here with where you're at in your education and
grow
where
that.
you're at and grow.
And we hate to see you go, but we're happy to see you grow.
That really
But-
needs to be on.
And I think we'd be remiss not to mention too, not just students, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
anybody, if your parents that are watching, you know, folks that are maybe looking for a career change, or you know, there's lots of opportunity that's available
Yes.
right here
Yeah.
in
Right,
Marlborough.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think with that, we're actually bumping up against time. Is there anything else you guys wanted to mention about the imaging center, the hospital, Breast Cancer Awareness Month? You know, anything you guys want to kind of leave folks with
Sure,
before we
I mean,
close out?
Yeah, sure. Just a word. In fact, I think probably in the introduction you did mention about October being the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and you know, we're just 2 or 3 days away. So I would encourage all folks watching that this is the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So please get your screening mammograms done. You know,
Yes.
folks, your friends, your family, encourage them, and I'd encourage the industry to please tell your staff, you know, the doors in Marlborough Hospital are open, and you know, we'd be happy to accommodate all of them. And it's just not breast cancer screening, just about the entire spectrum of health. You know, I may be a little biased being a breast specialist,
Sure.
but I would open the doors for just about screening in all aspects, because I think screening does save lives.
Absolutely.
And Dianne, would you like to add something?
Yeah, oh, and I just wanted to add, we are open, you know, evenings and on Saturdays to try to accommodate folks in their schedules.
Convenience.
That's great.
So, yeah, so
That's
come
awesome.
on, come on in and
Come
see
on
us.
down. Come check it out. That's awesome.
I do have an answer to a question you asked earlier.
Let's hear it.
Moved to the current location in 1913
Oh,
from
okay.
Hildreth Street in 1890.
A little
was
trivia
founded.
for you.
Wow.
And the house is still there.
a little trivia.
A little trivia.
I love
Oh,
it.
Circle
I should.
back.
Who was the respondent? I should thank them.
Our
I didn't know that.
team, yeah.
Our team, Lindsay.
Linda Martins.
Oh, thank you so much
Thank you,
for.
Linda.
What did you say it was? 18?
The current location in 1913.
That's when the mayor was born there, right?
Yes,
Yes,
1913.
right.
Somebody timestamp at 10:42. Meredith said that the mayor was
Shots fired, right?
born in 1913
Just kidding.
and moved from Hildreth
Hildreth Street.
Street in
That's awesome.
1890.
Well, we could not be more grateful to have Marlborough Hospital in our backyard. I keep
Yes.
saying that because it's true. You guys are accessible, convenient, open for business. You want folks to come in safely, and you guys have done an amazing job through the pandemic. So thank you for all the work that you guys are doing, and thanks for being here with us today. I think it's phenomenal to be, encouraging folks and even just reminding folks that it's important to get out there, and no better place to do it than right here in Marlborough.
That's right.
Thank you
So,
so much
thank
for
you.
having us.
Absolutely.
And thanks for all your help.
Absolutely. Thank you to everybody for watching, too. We were really excited to bring a special production this morning of Inside the Industry, and we look forward to seeing you back next week, I think it is, Jill. Is that correct? For one of our regularly scheduled programming with Exploring Economic Development with MEDC. We're going to have Counselor Christian Dumas with us to talk about growing up in Marlborough, kind of the idea behind the Be Local campaign. It's going to be a great conversation. We're definitely going to find some embarrassing photos to share, and we're excited about that. So thank you all so much for joining us. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and don't forget to get your screenings.
That's right.
Thank you.